Hello, welcome back. This is Little Mo Travels, and I'm Lil Mo, Monique. I'm super excited to talk about this today. This video is going to be about my trip to Sierra Leone. So, back in 2017, just come back from being abroad. I studied abroad in Spain, and if you haven't seen my videos about my study abroad experience, please go check those out now. They are kind of long, so you need to have some time to actually listen to the whole thing. Anyway, I came back from being abroad and I met my friend Sia. So Sia, Sequi was her last name at the time. Sia, she is from Sierra Leone and she studied in the United States for about 7 years. And then when the pandemic hit, she found herself going back to Sierra Leone. So she moved back in 2020 and started her life, her adult life in Sierra Leone. When I met Sia, we were both RAs and we both ended up being placed in the same building. And there were only 3 of us in the building. And I was on the 2nd floor, she was on the 3rd floor, and there was only 3 floors. So we became really close. We did programs together, we hung out, we did stuff together. And when I talk about Sia, I always say, like, she is one of the people that actually inspires me in the world. She's truly a good person. And that's hard to come from. That's hard to come by. I mean, she's really a good person inside and out. Like, when she helps people, it's because you're supposed to help people. She doesn't ask for anything in return, and she doesn't expect anything. When she does something nice and someone's like, no, that's okay, she's like, no, it is fine, please just accept this. We hit it off and we were cool immediately. And throughout the years of us being RAs together, we just grew closer. And that's like my sister. Like, I don't play about Sia. Anyway, she has been asking me to come to Sierra Leone since I met her. She's just that kind of person. She's like, please come back and visit. Come and see and all this other stuff. She was like, we'll have a room for you. And you know, when someone invites you back to their hometown, it's like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. But she was not giving up. Finally, when I had the money and I had the time and the resources to be able to go, I decided to go. So earlier in 2022, I have about a month off during the winter season. So I said, hey, would January be a good time for me to come? See Sierra Leone and see you, because I hadn't seen her since I left the school, and that was 2019. Last year was 2022. You do the math, it was like 2 years, 3 years, something like that. So I hadn't seen her in a while. This was like a real opportunity to see my friend that I hadn't seen in a really long time, and I was going to take advantage of it. She said it was a good time. So that was the basis of this entire trip, was me going to Sierra Leone. Whenever I travel internationally, if I'm going in the direction of my host parents, I'm always going to try and see them, no matter what. And also my friend Lamar in London. Y'all already know how I feel about London. If you haven't seen my videos, you should watch them, because you would think that I was living in London at another time in my life. And so that is the basis of the trip, how it all came to be. I was originally going to go to Sierra Leone. I was going to spend maybe about 4 days there. Because I was going to go to Spain, it probably made sense to go to London too, so I could see as many people as I possibly could. I looked at flights, I looked at dates, I looked at times, and if you international travel often, you know it's a lot to try to coordinate, make sure that the prices are good, depending on where you're flying to and where you're flying from. So I had all of my flight stuff set so I could get notifications about flights and times and dates and money and how much it costs and stuff like that. It just turned out that it was better for me to go to London first, then Spain, then Sierra Leone. If I had gone to Sierra Leone first, it would have cost me more money to fly directly to Sierra Leone than to do what I did, fly to London, then Spain, then Sierra Leone. I feel like what I did cost the least amount of money, which is why I did it the way I did. It was cheaper to fly to LAX. I don't like flying out of LAX. It is so busy and hectic. It's just a lot. I already talked about my time in London. I already talked about my time in Spain and videos that I did while I was there. So let me just kind of cut to leaving Spain and going to Sierra Leone. So when I left Spain, my host parents, they dropped me off at the airport. So the agreement was, and this is my fault, I thought that they were gonna pick me up from the airport. I should have verified, and I didn't, so that was on me. So they actually dropped me off at the airport. And so that morning I got up, we had breakfast, and Maria, my host sister, if you don't know the story about my host parents, please go watch that video. It is on my page already. My host parents, we were having breakfast. Maria came out, my host sister. She did not want to go with us to the airport because that is a 3-hour drive one way, which is 6 hours in total. School started the next day for her. I was like, yeah, girl, I don't mind. I'll see you the next time I see you. She's 17 now. The next time I see her, she's going to be an adult. We were sitting there, we were talking about how life moves us around a lot. And it just takes a lot to travel internationally and to be able to see them. My host mom was like, so when's the next time you think you're going to be able to come out to Spain? And I was like, man, I don't know. Because I'm getting older and I need to start thinking about life stuff, like foundational things. Right now, my life is just really free. Like, I don't have a husband. I don't have any kids. This job is contracted, so I only have about 3 years in this job. I need to start trying to figure out what I'm trying to do and do that. What I mean by that is, do I want to live in San Diego? Do I want to purchase a home in San Diego? Do I want to go somewhere else? If I do want to go somewhere else, where do I want to go? It's probably not the United States, because really the only place that I would live is where I'm living now. I said to a friend the other day that if I needed to, I could move to another country, but what would that look like? So I need to start having like those conversations with myself and just trying to figure out what I want in life. Traveling the way that I do gets in the way of that, because I'm always trying to go somewhere. And if I'm always trying to go somewhere, I'm always spending time trying to plan and spend money doing that. And if I continue to go on the path that I'm on right now, I'm gonna be in my 30s and I'm not gonna have like an actual foundation somewhere. It works for now. I'm leaning more towards, I wanna like have a home at some point to be able to come back to and not have something that's like temporary. Not to put everybody in my business, but when my host mom asked that question, I gotta get my financial life together, my work life together. I gotta get my personal life together, romantic life together. It's all fine for now, but none of it is stationary. We talked about that. They let me know, like, it is what it is. You do what you have to do and do what's best for you, and you'll be okay. So then they took me to the airport, and we stopped and got something to eat. We had lunch before I left. The food in Spain. I'll never get over it. I think I did a video about that too, now I think about it. I think I talked about my top favorite foods in Spain. Anyway, they dropped me off at the airport. Long hugs, lots of tears. I went in, and the woman at the desk, she cracked me up. She was super nice. She was very nice. But luckily, I'm the person that I will make sure I have everything set and handled before I get to where I'm going, so that I know how this is supposed to go. And so when something derives, I'm like, well, hold on, that don't make no sense, because what I read was this. And so I got to the desk. I had already checked in and everything. I just need to drop off my bag. And then she was like, hold on, I think you're missing something. And I was like, I shouldn't be missing shit, you know? She was like, I think you're supposed to fill out this form. I didn't know what she was talking about. She was like, you can do it when you get to London if you want. When she gave me the link, it wasn't working. And then she saw something else. And so when I was telling her, like, the link you gave me doesn't work, she put it in her own phone and it didn't work. So then she, like, started to try to figure that out. But I think she came across something else as she was doing that. When she put up what she was trying to get me to do, she was trying to get me to go to, if you've never traveled internationally before, pretty much the State Department, they have pages. They have pages on each country that you can visit with your passport. They have these pages that talk about what safety level the country is on, and the country that you're going to, not the United States. So like, what safety level the country that you're going to is on. Are there any precautions you need to take? Any medications you need to have with you? Vaccinations you're required to have in order to enter the country? Any kind of other things that you would need to know about going there before you go there. So she was trying to get me to go to that page, but for Sierra Leone. She pulled it up, and at the top of the page, it literally said, let me calm down, 'cause she didn't know. At the top of the page, it said, fully vaccinated passengers do not need a COVID test, do not need a negative COVID test or whatever. And what she had said to me before she pulled up the page was, I think you need to take a COVID test. And I was like, no, because if I had known that, if I read that I was supposed to, I would have packed a COVID test and taken that shit before I got here, girl. No, we're not doing that. And so at the top of the page, it said it. And I said, well, actually, this is what I read. And I pointed to it. And she was like, oh. She was like, no, you're okay. And she let me go. It's like, all right, cool. It's like, man, the situation that I was in, if I would have had to take a COVID test, I would have had to ask them, like, so do y'all got COVID tests, or where can I get one? Because the people I was with just left. And like I just said, that drive is 3 hours. They are on their way home. We gonna have to figure something out. It turned out to be okay. Got in the security line, all that, went through, made my way to my gate. I always like to see who else is sitting at the gate with me. Whenever I travel, and this is anywhere, it's domestically or internationally, I always try to observe who's at the gate with me. And that's how you know you're going somewhere. So for example, Whenever I go to Detroit, it's usually a layover, unless I have like a red eye. If I don't have a red eye, there's a layover involved. The first flight, it's a bunch of people that are like diverse. It's like white people, like Latinx people, Asian people. It's like everybody. And then the second flight is most of the people going are black. And it always makes me laugh. And so I was looking at the boarding gate, and it was the same thing. A bunch of us who were leaving to go to Sierra Leone, not everywhere, it wasn't a lot of black people. And then when I landed in Morocco, that's when all the black people came. It was just like when I go to Detroit. It was wild. I was like, wow, this is crazy. My flight left out of Madrid at 6. I landed in Morocco, Casablanca, at 1 in the morning, and my layover was like 4 hours. This is where it starts to get spicy. I've never experienced this before ever in my life. You're going to continue to learn throughout your entire life. You'll never know everything that you need to know. You're going to always come into more and more lessons about life and things that you can use. That's just the point to make here, because I had never experienced this before. And then I was asking some of the people I know who are African and go home sometimes, have you experienced this before? The first person I talked to said, no, that's new to me. This was the first time this ever happened to me. I was trying to make it to my gate. I landed in Casablanca. I got off the plane. There was like a checkpoint. And you go, they ask you for your passport, they ask you for your boarding pass. For me, I have a passport from the United States. There was no reason to stop me. And now I'll explain why I said that after I tell you the rest of the story. They look at my boarding pass, they look at my ticket, they look me dead in my face, I look them dead in their face. Because I always do that, because, you know, I ain't got shit to hide. Like, this my fucking passport, and I know when I took the picture, bro, I was younger. And I look the same, but I'm tired of shit. It's 1 a.m., bro. Like, give me my fucking shit. It was like that. They let me through. Then you're going through a security line. This ain't how I'm used to this shit. I'm used to, you get off the plane, you go to customs. After you get through customs, you go get your bag, and you go wherever you're going. This was, got off the plane, go through a checkpoint. They check your passport, they check your boarding pass. You get past the checkpoint, you're going through security. So they're like looking through your stuff and all this. It's just like regular security for pre-check. If you have pre-check, it was the same thing that they make you do. They don't make you take off your clothes or anything like that. They make you take out your electronics, any liquids you might have, and then just go through the scanner. After that, I went and found my gate for Sierra Leone. I had never experienced an airport like this. Really, there's no other way to put it. Look, it is what it is. Don't judge me. You can hate me, you can hate your mom. I don't know. This was not well put together. It wasn't well organized. The airport itself, it wasn't as clean as it could have been. I was sitting in the restaurant and a roach walked in. And you know, that could happen anywhere. But it hasn't to me. What the hell am I about to get myself into? I had to move from the restaurant and everything. It was crazy because I'm not used to that. This airport was like, when it comes to the nicest airport I've ever been to, which I'm gonna do a video about that because it was Istanbul, and the like worst airport I've ever been to, I used to think JFK was raggedy. I used to think that the Wichita airport before they had upgrades, I used to think Wichita was raggedy. That airport was jank. And then I went to Morocco and was like, oh, okay. This is not to shit on them. This is to point out, because people will go to countries on Instagram. You gotta be careful, because what you're seeing is the starry-eyed, like, wow, this is amazing. This is the best experience I've ever had before. All of this is so beautiful. If you've never been here before, come and visit. But they don't tell you it's the stuff that they didn't like about stuff. And I don't mind going into that. So you will learn, like, these places that you saw on Instagram and that you thought were so beautiful actually have some downsides and some stuff that you're not used to. So Morocco was one of those. And I've been to Morocco before. I had actually been to Morocco, but the thing was, when I first came, we came through Gibraltar. So we came through Spain, and we took the ferry over to Morocco. We didn't fly into Casablanca airport. So I was like, what the hell is this? I had to wait 4 hours in the airport. Man, there's so many things I would change about my trip. I would try to figure out another way to get to Sierra Leone, because that, I'm not doing that again. And not to shit on Royal Air Morocco, but I'm not ever taking that airline again either. We got through all of that. Finally got to board my flight. And once again, it was another fucking checkpoint. So they ask you for your, and this is normal, but because you had already gone through like 2 or 3 at this point, you're like, so when are y'all gonna stop looking at my passport? Because girl, it's me. But again, I'll explain why they do that after this. They look at it again. They look at your boarding pass. Royal Air is one of those that don't use the jet bridge. They will put you on a bus and take you out there to where the plane is parked, and you'll get on like that. So I get on my seat. I land in Morocco at around 4:30 a.m. and I took a ferry to Sierra Leone. So you get off the plane. Again, these fucking checkpoints. So right as you get off the plane, it's a checkpoint. You checks for your passport, you checks for your boarding pass. To get to Sierra Leone, you need a visa. I knew this before I left, and I wanted to do it before I left, but my friend was like, no, you can do it at the airport. I'm like, this sounds like a bad idea, but go ahead. So we went ahead and did it. I get there, and he's checking for the passport. Before I left, my friend Sia, she set up this communication between a friend of hers at the airport. He also works at her job where she works, but he also works at the airport. We had agreed he will meet me when I get off the plane, and he will have all the information I need. He did all of the work for me, and when I got there, he gave me the receipts, and I gave him the money back. And so when I got off the plane, and homie was checking checking for my passport, Sia's friend came out of nowhere and was like, oh, it's fine, I got her, I have everything she needs. And the dude was like, all right, cool. I went through the border, so I talked to the dude, and he was like, why are you in Sierra Leone? I was like, oh, to visit a friend. He was like, you live here? I was like, no. I was like, no, I'm here to visit a friend. He was like, oh, a friend. I was like, yeah, we met in college, and this is my first time seeing her, outside of college. And he was like, wow, that's great. He was like, you came here? I was like, yes. Well, that's great. You're a great friend. Whatever. Where are you staying here? When are you leaving? He asked me for her address. I was like, I don't know. I've never been here before, bro. I said, it's on the paper, though. So he looked at the paper. He was a pleasant dude. You know what I'm saying? It was also 4:30 in the morning. So there's that. They let me go. And then, once again, another security thing. So I had to put my bag through the security thing. Got my bag, found my luggage, that whole nine. Eventually, we made it to the ferry station. So we go outside, and I have gone to places where people, like, there will be vendors and stuff like that, and they'll come up and ask you, oh, do you want this? Oh, do you want that? And I'm not talking about the United States. I'm talking about, like, it happened to me while I was in Spain. It happened to me while I was in Morocco. I'm scanning my brain. I don't know if there's any other place that happened to me at, but I have been to places where people that you don't know walk up to you and try to sell you something. So that didn't bother me because I was used to that at that point. So when I came out of the airport, it was like people outside trying to get you to buy SIM cards. If you need help with your luggage, anything. I'm talking about this a hustler ass country because everybody was selling something, but I'll talk about that in another video. And so we made it to the ferry station. I already had my ticket because I paid for it ahead of time. He gave me my receipt, all of that, right? Now I'm getting on the ferry. It's about to be 6 o'clock in the morning. And so I'm really excited because I haven't been to this country before. I've never seen my friend in like such a long time. I get to meet her family. I get to meet her husband. I see her new baby, all this stuff. I get on the boat, and when I tell you, I have not been this motion sick in a long time. I don't know what it was. I think it might have been the waves. So I actually did throw up. I took Dramamine, and I think I took it too late because that's what came up was the Dramamine. I did make a new friend. I didn't expect to see any white people. So when I saw a couple of white people on the same boat as us, I was like, oh. I was like, oh, what's up? And so one of them was a woman. She looked nice. Me, I don't approach people that I don't feel good about. So she looked really nice, and like she was talking to other people, so she looked friendly. So I asked her, I was like, where are you from? She's from Latvia, which I still don't know where that is. I think it's in Northern Europe. I haven't been up there, so I don't really know what that looks like. I know what it looks like on a map, but I don't know what it looks like because I've never been there. So she's from Latvia, and if I figure out where that is, I'll update y'all. But so we had a really nice conversation, and we talked on the ferry and everything. She was coming for a friend's wedding in Sierra Leone. She had known this friend for a while, and they invited her to come and be a part of the wedding, which was amazing. And so she got to be a part of that. Eventually, we made it to the ferry station on the other side, and I arrived in Freetown, Sierra Leone. It was about 6 o'clock. Got off the ferry. We had to get our luggage. That whole process was interesting. When you leave the ferry station, they staple a ticket onto your luggage, and they give you the other half of the ticket. And you get on the boat. They, put the luggage, they stack it, store it, or whatever. You get to the other side. They bring all the luggage in. They just roll it in and place it next to each other. You grab whatever your luggage is, and before you leave the area, they check the ticket. So they check the ticket on the thing, and they check the ticket that you have, and they make sure that it's the same ticket, and then they let you go. which is a good system. So I went outside. Both me and the lady I was just talking to, we were both waiting on people. The lady I was talking to on the boat, she was like, you know, as far as I understand, my friend said she was going to send someone to come get me, but she didn't tell me if I need to wait anywhere specific or who to look for. I don't really know what's happening. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't know either. Like, my friend said that she would meet me at the ferry station, but I don't see nobody here. So we waited outside for a little bit, and I went back inside to try to get some Wi-Fi. Dude told me it was only for office use. I was like, all right. So I went back outside. She was getting into the car with her people. I was like, okay, good for her. They came and got her. I was still waiting on Sia. I waited outside for maybe it was probably about 15, 20 minutes. It wasn't too bad. I'm used to waiting, so it wasn't that bad. And then eventually she showed up. Actually, some dude walked up to me and was like, I think I'm supposed to pick you up. I was like, I don't play that shit. Stranger danger. Hell no. Like, ain't nobody told me nothing about nobody. And he was walking up to me like he knew me. So I was like, oh, nah. And then he said, hold on. And he called my friend Sia's dad. So Sia's dad is on the phone, and he hands me the phone. I said, hello? I was like, I'm not sure who I'm talking to right now. He didn't hear me. I said, hello? And he was like, hi, this is Sia's dad. I was like, oh, hi, Sia's dad. And he was like, hey, we are so sorry. We thought that your flight got in late. And so we were at the airport. And then now we realized that you were on the ferry. And so Sia will be there shortly. I was like, all right, cool. Thank you so much. She was like, no problem. So I gave the phone back to the dude. And then my friend Sia showed up with her mom. So I'm going to pause there. I don't want this video to be too long. I'm going to pause there, and then I will talk about my experience in Sierra Leone in a second video. Thank you so much for watching. If you are curious and you want to learn about other stuff about my travel experiences and stuff like that, please check out my other videos on this page, Little Mo Travels. I'm also on Instagram, at Little Mo Travels on Instagram. If you want to hear anything else about anything I've ever heard, you watch this video and you're like, well, tell us more about this. You can make a comment and I'll do a video about that, or I'll talk about it on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks again.